Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pimbrook Software's webinar on Sage Payroll End of Year. My name's Fiona, and I'll be running through the webinar with you today. First, a bit of housekeeping. We have a large group on this morning, so we'll be putting everybody on mute. We have put a link to the year-end booklet in the chat box there, so if you need it, you can quickly download it and get it open. If you have a question, please type it on the chat panel at the top of your screen there. And if you don't get a chance, if we don't get to your question on the webinar, I will get back to you by email, or we'll call you, or they can call into the support team. But we should have plenty of time at the end to get through any questions. We've structured the webinar along the same lines as the end of year checklist in your booklet to keep things consistent. So stage 1, run the year-end 2024 software update. Stage 2, to complete your 24 payroll processing. Stage 3, starting the tax year 2025. And stage 4, setting your first period for 25 and rolling forward the holiday and absence year. On page 3 of your booklet, you'll see the end of year checklist, and this is useful because you can tick each task as complete as you work through them, and particularly useful if you have more than one payroll. Now we'll get started on it. Stage 1, run the year-end software update. First, we want to locate where your payroll is installed. You will either have a standalone setup where both the data and the program are on this one machine, or you will have a server client setup where the data is on the server and the program is on each of the client PCs. You can locate where your payroll is installed by going to Help and System Information and make a note of the program directory and the data directory in the boxes on page 4 of your booklet, as you will need these later. So see page 4 of your booklet to take a note of your program and data directory, because you will need them later. Next, take a full system backup. We recommend you create a folder for all payroll year-end backups and reports, and this could be C:/payroll year-end 2024, and you can put the full system backup into this folder. You can always copy this folder to an external drive for security later on. To take a full system backup, you must log into the system as administrator. So select Login up the top there and then log into a payroll. Log on as admin by entering the username admin and then your admin password. Once you're logged into the admin screen, you can then select Miscellaneous and Backup. Click the Select All button and put a tick in the Backup System Files box. Now you get to select where you want to store the backup. You can select the directory you created earlier and add a new folder under that called Full System Backup, and add a date if desired to. You will get confirmation that the backup was successful. Before you go ahead and run the year-end software update, version 27.3, I just want to bring to your attention a few things. Depending on your operating system, it may be necessary to have administrator rights on your computer. If you're unsure about this, contact your IT company or your in-house IT person. Sage Payroll version. This year, everyone should be on version 27.2 already before running the year-end update. If you are not, you can still go ahead with this installation, but please contact the Pimbrook support team, as you may have to make some additional adjustments due to the PRSI rate change from October the 1st this year. Also confirm that you are on version 27.3 after running the update, and there should be a new Sage icon 2025 on your desktop. The payroll status should be at end of period or start a period before running the update. Before proceeding, you should close all applications which are open on your PC, including Sage Payroll and any other Sage products. So where do you get the payroll year-end software update, the version 27.3 install file? You may receive an automatic notification to download the update from within your software. It was released by Sage on the 11th of November, so it's been available for some time now. If you didn't get a notification, try clicking Help and check for updates at the top of your screen. Alternatively, you can download the payroll year-end update from our payroll year-end 2024 knowledge-based article. It's been emailed to everyone on the 27th of November, and the link is on the screen there now. Note that if you have a server or client set up, you will need to download the software from our link, as it has to be run twice on the first machine. Now you're ready to run the update. So click on the 27.3 exe file icon on your desktop or the file in your downloads area, and you'll get this message, extracting installer, please wait. Tick then to accept the terms and hit the next button. Select which type of installation you need, this computer or server client. When we went through this earlier. If your data and program are on the same PC, then select this computer. If your program and data are in different locations, then you have a server client setup. With server client, you will need to run this installation file twice on the first PC. The first time you select server, and the second time you select client. Then when you update any other PCs, you just select client. Talk to your IT if you need help deciding which of these you have. So once you've made your selection here, you hit the next button. Your next options will be to select typical or custom. Always select custom and then hit the next button. Check that the program folder and the data folder match what you wrote down on page 4. If not, you select the Browse button and point to the correct location. It will run through several pop-ups and it will eventually give you the option to finish. If you have a server client installation, just follow the installation guidelines from page 12 onwards in the booklet. So you launch the 2024 software and check that you're now on version 27.3. And you can look at the version number at the top of the screen when you log in. And that's your stage 1 complete. Now on to stage 2, complete your payroll for 2024. So before you process the final payroll of 24, I just want to bring your attention to a few things. As we know, the payroll submissions are in real time, and once submitted, this information is available to revenue and employees. Submissions should be made in a timely manner, and this is on or before the payments were made. This year, again, we expect that there will be a cut-off for the 2024 RPNs and submissions at the 31st of December 24. Contact revenue if you have any reason not to meet this deadline. Processing after this date should be in the 2025 calendar. Like last year, employees can retrieve an end-of-year statement by logging onto their Revenue My account, and it might be a good idea to remind your employees of this as year-end approaches. And one last consideration is around the statutory sick pay. SSP taken in 24 must be paid in the 2024 software. Otherwise, the days will come out of the employee's 2025 allowance. So this means that if you are working a week in hand, you should try to find out if any SSP taken was taken in the last week of 2024. And it needs to be processed in the 24 software. If you only find out about it in the new year, you will need to go back and open up the last period of 2024 and process it and resubmit to revenue. Year-end payroll is all about the pay date, and now is a good time to remind everyone of the pay date rule. The pay date rule means that if the planned pay date is the period in 2024, then the period belongs in the 2024 payroll. And if the planned pay date is a 2025 date, then the period belongs in the 2025 payroll. And by pay date, I mean the date the money will be available to the employees in their bank account. If you're running a weekly payroll, it's okay to finish on week 51 if all employees are paid for a double week. This means that they will get 2 tax credits, 2 insurable weeks, and 2 weeks worked. Please be careful with holiday pay over the year end. Holiday days taken in 24 should be processed in the 24 payroll, and again days taken in 25 should be processed in the 25 payroll, and that's using the 25 tax credits. Now we'll have a look to see if you have an extra pay date. An extra pay date happens because the number of days in the tax year doesn't divide into a whole number of tax weeks, and any remaining days are known as week 53. I'll start by saying that this year in 2024, if your usual pay day is a Monday or Tuesday, then you will have an extra pay period. That's a week 53 for a weekly payroll or a period 27 in a fortnightly payroll. We do strongly recommend that you do not change the pay date or do anything to artificially create a week 53 or an extra pay period in 2024. Remember here that Revenue want employers to pay on the same day of the week all year round, and this includes over the year end. When it does occur, a week 53 must be run separately. So it cannot be a holiday period within week 52. And this is so the system can apply the week 1 or month 1 tax and USC status for the week 53 automatically. Revenue want to see the week 53 submitted separately due to this tax status and a separate payslip generated. Employees should not be paid in advance for a week 53. Their pay date and the date that they do actually get paid must be the 30th or the 31st of December. The submission for week 53 can be submitted to Ross prior to the 31st, but the pay date must still show the 30th or the 31st. Revenue have advised previously that they will be following up with users that have a week 53 with a pay date other than the nominated dates. Okay, so the first consideration when setting the final pay period of 2024 is to watch for this message. This is only when the final pay date is the 31st of December, so it would only be for those with a week 53 this year. But if it is the 31st of December and this happens to correspond to the final pay date of your holiday year, the system will prompt you to roll forward your holiday and absence year. Select Do Not Roll Forward Holidays and Absences Year, because this is not the correct time to do this. So if your holiday year ends at the end of December annually, then it's in period 1 of 2025 is the right time to do this. Next, again, only for some of you that pay medical insurance for your employees, go to the PAY/YTD tab in the employee record and enter in the value for medical insurance eligible for tax relief. This needs to be done at the start of period. Once you have processed your final period, end the period as normal, send your pay slips and the file to the bank as normal. And we'll then move on to step 2 of stage 2. Step 2 is to compare your control summary and your employer monthly liability reports. So we'll go and we'll print the control summary first. So select reports and then payroll reports. In the Payroll tab, select Control Summary and then Print from the right-hand side. To print the Employer Monthly Liability Report, go to the Company tab in the Payroll Reports option, select the Employer's Monthly Liability Report, and again, just hit Print. Next, you'll have the option to select all payrolls registered under the same company number, but for this exercise, we need you to select one payroll at a time. Select Continue and then Print, and you'll be given the option to select quarterly subtotals and to show employee and employer PRSIs separately. Just make your selections and then Continue, and the report will be printed for you. Now you have the two reports printed. It's time to compare them. So in this chart, it's hard to see sometimes on the screen, but you can also view it on page 22 of your year-end booklet. So along the top, we have the control summary, and below it, we have the monthly liability report. The green, blue, and red lines link the figures from both reports that should match each other. So the green is the PAYE, the blue is the PRSI, and the red is the USC. You will need to run a deductions report for the LPT, which is the yellow line down the bottom there. And to run the LPT report, again, go to the Payroll Reports option and the Payroll tab and select the Deductions report. Put a tick in the Include Leavers box and then select LPT from the deductions list and hit Print. We recommend you also save some other reports for the year-end. You can select the PDF option and save them to the year-end folder you created earlier. The reports that you can run are the control summary, which we've just done, the earnings, tax and PRSI, the employment details summary report, and the ASC reports if it is applicable to your payroll. I'll go through where to find the employment details summary report and then the ASC reports, because these are ones that we're only printing once a year. The employment details summary report. Go to the year end across the top menu, then tax year end reports, and you'll see the employment details summary in the employee report section. You can also see this is where you can access the ASC 35 and the ASC 60 reports. So the employment details summary, it's like the old P60s, but it's a report for the employer. You can give to your employee if it's requested, but we don't recommend issuing it routinely at year end. You can include leavers and can select which employees you run it for, or leave it blank for all employees. You have the option to print or PDF it and save it into your year-end folder. So this is what it looks like. It's just a one-page summary for each employee. This is the ASC 35 statement. So if you are in the public sector and the ASC 35 applies to your payroll, you'll need to print both the ASC 35, which is this statement, and the ASC 60 report, which is for each employee. You go to year end, then tax and tax year end reports. Here you'll get the option to run this for all specified employees. More details on page 25 of your booklet for these reports. This is the ASC 60. You can see this on page 27. And you'll get one of these for each of your employees in the scheme. And the last thing to do before we leave 2024 is a bit of housekeeping. There are 9 steps in housekeeping on our page 28. The first is to validate your payroll. You should be doing this every pay period anyway. So to do it, you select reports and validate payroll data. You can also set Sage Payroll to automatically validate your payroll when you set the period. To do this, select Reports, Validate Payroll Data, and Start of Period Settings, and make your selections there. When the Validate Payroll Data procedure runs, the result will be displayed in a window broken down by company issues, employee issues, and GDPR issues, if you have any. You can click on the blue Issue Found link to see a list of issues found and for suggestions on how to resolve the issues. You should apply the solution suggested, but again, if you're in any doubt, contact our support team. For more details on points 2 to 9, you can go to the end of the booklet on page 42. And that's our stage 2 complete, nearly halfway through now. Stage 3, starting the 2025 tax year. So we're going to set up the 2025 payroll. So we'll go through a few things to note again before we start. Firstly, what does the software do when you select Set up Tax Year 2025? Basically, the software transfers over your payroll data to the 2025 software. And as part of this process, it will tidy up a few things. It will clear the RPN and submission logs. These logs will start again for 2025 tax year, and this makes them easier to manage and reconcile. It will reset the RPN numbers in your 2025 system. So when you create your 2025 payroll, the RPN numbers in the employee detail records will be cleared. The RPN numbers will start again at 1 for the new tax year for each employee. Sage will only import the 2025 RPNs. So in the first week, it should import an RPN for all employees, usually starting at number 1. It'll clear any expired PAYE exclusion orders. So Sage will examine the exclusion orders for the has effect until date, and it'll clear it if appropriate. And finally, for those of you that have CWPS deductions, you will need to run the CWPS year end. This just means setting up a new calendar and clearing the CWPS balances and history from 2024 prior to setting the first period of 2025. But we will go through this later in this presentation. Now to get on and set up the 2025 tax year. Firstly, ensure that you are logged into the payroll 2024. Select the year end, then tax, and set up 2025 tax year. You'll be presented with the payroll setup screen. Click Continue to start the process. So during the process of creating the payroll for 2025 tax year, employee cumulative values coming forward from 24 are cleared and all levers are removed. Payroll data for 2025 is stored in a separate directory from the 24 data. This means that a new payroll folder, be it called week or monthly, is created within the 2025 folder in the data directory. So you will get the message you have successfully copied your payroll data into 2025 Sage Payroll software. You must now open 2025 software to continue. You can have 24 and 25 software open at the same time. To open Sage Payroll for the new tax year, you double-click the Sage Payroll 2025 icon on your desktop. Log into the payroll in your usual way, and you can now work in the 25 payroll. Your payroll status and period will be blank until you set the period for the first time. When you log into your 2025 payroll, ensure that your Sage Payroll version number is 28.0. You can check this in the title bar of the software. Also check your limit of employees. This is shown in the title bar as well. Step 3, setting up a new payroll calendar. So up the top to company/payroll and down to calendar. If your financial year is the same as your tax year, you'll now be prompted to clear out the financial figures. Click Continue to complete this. If your financial year runs from January to December and you don't clear down the balances before processing the first period of the new tax year, you won't be able to clear down the balances at a later stage during the year. At that point, you would need to be making manual corrections within the employee details. You'll get confirmation that the clear down is complete and click OK. So what has this clear down actually done? So these are some screenshots from the employee record, just to show you what this financial year wizard will do. And in this example, I haven't done it at the start of the year so that you can still see that there are tax year values there. So in the Payments tab, hours to date, values to date, and net value to date values are cleared. Deductions tab, balances EE and balance ER only are cleared. In the PAY/YTD tab, in the non-tax deduction section, it will clear the financial year values, and in the PRSI box, it clears the employer financial year balances. Note that the tax year values for all of these boxes are cleared when you move the data over into the 2025 software. This is just the financial year data. So this wizard will clear out the financial figures, but will not clear the following. It won't clear standard amounts, figures for reducing balance deductions, the total E and total ER values in the deductions tab, and the from the start figures for the non-tax deductions. If you wish to clear any of these, then you can skip this wizard and do the financial year clear down from the drop-down year-end menu. You'll find the notes for how to do this on page 49 of your booklet, but we will go through this before we finish this. If your financial year is different to the tax year, you should select Do Not Clear Down the Financial Year Balances. And then go back to the calendar settings and enter the correct period if the financial year will end after period box. So to set up your new calendar, in the calendar window, click New Calendar. Then enter the dates for your first pay period in 2025. Enter the nominal start date and then click Update. The pay date field is the date that drives the calendar to generate subsequent periods. Your pay date must be a date within the allowable date range for that period. This date is included in every payroll submission to revenue for your employees. If you're on a weekly payroll, your first pay date should fall between the 1st and 7th of January. For a fortnightly payroll, it should be between the 1st and 14th of January. If you're unsure about this topic, please also refer back to the notes at the beginning of Stage 2 regarding dates. When you have entered the dates for the first pay period of the new tax year and valid pay days, if not on a weekly payroll, you then click Update. Once the calendar is updated, make sure you have 12 or 52 planned periods in your new calendar, and that all the pay dates are in 2025. If your pay date is usually on a Wednesday, then you will have an extra period in 2025. You can edit the calendar then from this calendar details window, and remember at the end, hit your save button. Repeat this procedure for each payroll you set up in 25. If you have multiple payrolls with the same frequency and pay date, you can copy the calendar in the admin section. Step 4 is to set up your ASC, your additional superannuation contributions, if they apply to your payroll. ASC is only relevant to the public sector employees. If you have employees that are liable for ASC deductions in 2025, you should check the ASC settings within their records at this stage. To check or set up ASC, on the menu bar, click Processing and then click Employee Details. Select the relevant employee and click on the Deductions tab. Assign the appropriate ASC settings. If the employee is in subsidiary employment and their main employment is elsewhere, select the subsidiary checkbox. Click Save to save any changes made. Now we'll just jump back to show you how to clear the financial year end balances manually. You can find this on page 49 of your booklet. So the tax year runs from January to December. However, your company's financial year may not coincide with these dates. For example, your financial year may be the 1st of August to the 31st of July. If your financial year coincides with the tax year, then it is appropriate to carry out your financial year clear down before running period 1 of 2025. If you have opted not to use the wizard, as we went through earlier, then this is how to manually clear down the financial year end figures. Before doing this, please ensure that you're in the 25 software. Then do a backup and print the following reports. So you can print the cost analysis report, the payments report, and the deductions report. And again, if your financial year runs from January to December and you don't clear down the balances before processing the first period of the new tax year, you won't be able to clear down at a later stage. At that stage, you would be looking at doing manual corrections to the employee records. To clear the cost analysis, up the top to year end, then financial and clear cost analysis. A message alerts you that the cost analysis will be cleared. Click OK to carry out the clear down. Clear out complete, click OK to continue. To clear the payments, select again year end, financial, clear payments. This table displays all the payments that can be cleared. You have the option to select hours and/or values for each payment you want to clear. Click Clear Selected to proceed with the clear down. If you select nothing, nothing will be cleared. In general, most people select all payments to be cleared, so they can start the new year with nil balances for all employees. Different payments can also be cleared out at different times of the year if needed. So when prompted to continue, you click Yes. Financial year balances for the selected items will be set to 0. When the payments are cleared, click OK. And lastly is to clear the deductions. Again, select year end, financial, clear deductions. Deductions look a little different as there are more columns to select from. You can choose to clear one or more of the following: the standard amount, which is the amount deducted in each period, the balance, which is deductions total accumulated since the last clear down, the total, which is a running total of the deduction since the deduction was first introduced. The wizard doesn't clear this one, but a lot of users want to clear this. And lastly, the tax year balance, and that's the tax year balance. So a few tips here. Do not clear down the standard amount. Do not clear down any of these balances for a reducing balance deduction like loans or bike to work. You can also clear the employee and employer non-tax deductions history by selecting the check boxes in the non-tax deductions section at the bottom of the screen. Again, the new wizard will not clear down from the start section here. And again, if you select nothing, nothing's going to be cleared. Once you have selected the deductions you want to clear, click Clear Selected. You'll just be asked to confirm financial year balances for the selected items will be set to 0. Do you wish to continue? Click your yes. And clear out complete, job done. You can confirm then that the cost analysis, the payments and deductions have been properly cleared by running these reports again. If you're processing CWPS pension deductions for your employees, in Sage Payroll, you must now run the CWPS year-end before you set the first period in 2025. So Stage 3, Step 5 on page 38 of the book will guide you through this, and it'll involve setting up a new calendar, clearing out year-to-date balances. Again, the timing of this is important as it must be done before setting the first period in 2025. To clear out the CWPS history, ready to start a new year, from the menu bar at the top of your window, click Year End and then New Construction Pension Year. When you receive the prompt to clear the balances and history, to continue, click Yes. Next, we will set up the 2025 CWPS calendar. From the menu bar at the top of your window, click Company/Payroll and then Construction Workers Pension. Click the Calendar tab. Enter the start date for the new CWPS tax year, which is 30th of December 2024, and click Create. Check the dates and information are correct for the new CWPS tax year, and if not, you can amend them as required. When you're happy, click OK. Remember, if you had a week 53 in 2024, that your week 1 CWPS was in the 2024 software, and you'll be getting week 2 CWPS in your week 1 payroll in 2025. Page 53 of the booklet will show you how to process the week 53 in 2024 if you have CWPS. And that's stage 3 complete. You've now set up the calendar for 2025 and cleared down the old payments and deduction balances from the employee records. And now on to stage 4, setting the first period for 2025. To set the first period, select Processing and then Set Period from the menu bar at the top of the screen, or select the Set Period button on the main screen. In the Set Period screen that is presented, ensure that the new period to process is set to 1 and check that the dates proposed are the appropriate for the first period and the CWPS should be at week 1. And then click OK. If you have not set up your 2025 calendar, you'll be prompted to do so at this point. When you click OK on the Set Period screen, you'll be prompted to roll forward your holiday and absences year. If your payroll holiday year finish date is the 31st of December, the system will automatically prompt you to roll forward the holiday information when setting the first period. You can find details of the holiday rollover on page 41 of your booklet. Also, even if you don't use the holiday feature and you get this pop-up, we recommend you still select to roll forward the payroll holiday and absences year. Otherwise, the screen will continue to appear each time you set your period. You're then ready to retrieve RPNs for the first period of 2025. And just click the Retrieve RPNs button on the main screen. RPNs for the following tax year are usually available early December. Again, contact Revenue for information on your RPNs. Once you have completed steps 1, 2, and 3 in stage 4, you can continue to process your payroll as normal for 2025. And that's your stage 4 completed, and that's your year end completed. You now can continue with your 2025 as usual. One last thing I want to draw your attention to, the guides and other information at the back of the book. We have covered some housekeeping already at the beginning of this stage, but some additional tasks should be undertaken regularly, like checking directors' settings. Check your pensions are set up correctly and that all employees have pension tracing numbers on their records. Check your start and finish dates, etc. Details of this are in your book from page 42. And finally, a quick mention of the Budget 25 and the main items that will affect the payroll for 2025. There's an increase in the standard rate cut-up from 42,000 to 44,000 for a single person and the equivalent for married people. Increase in tax credits from 3,750 to 4,000 for a single person and again equivalent for married people. The second USC rate band increased. And the third band, the rate itself goes from 4% to 3%. There's a minimum hourly rate increases to €13.50. An increase in the rent tax credit to 1,000 for people who rent their principal private residence. An increase in the home carers tax credit from 1,800 to 1,950. And there were also some changes to the small benefit exemption. These changes will be included in your year-end software update and also in the 2025 RPNs. And there is a full summary in the back of the booklet and also on revenue.ie. And that concludes our year-end webinar. We hope it's been informative for you and that you will help you to get your payroll year-end completed without too much hassle. And some good news. We will be giving away a lovely Christmas hamper to one lucky attendee of the Payroll Year-End webinars. The draw for this will take place today, later on today after the webinar. Somebody will be getting a nice phone call later today. On the screen there now, you can see that we have lots of resources available to you on our website, and you should have received our Payroll Year-End knowledge base with links to all of these in it by email back in November, I think it was. I'll now just take a moment and I'll just check out the question. So bear with me a second. Okay, we just had one question in today, and it's about a benefit in kind. Can I check about a benefit in kind for the car? When we run year end, will that generate a liability to the Ross that we need to pay? Um, Nothing specific happens with benefit in kind at the year end anymore because benefit in kind is usually processed with your weekly or monthly payroll. The employee is taxed on their benefit in kind if it's set up correctly in the payroll. But if you do, whoever sent in that question, if you do need to know about setting it up, just contact the support team on the number or email there, and they'll be able to help you with that. Just bear with me a second now. One last question coming in here now. My week 52, week ending December 22nd, will hit banks on December 26th. Am I correct in saying that my week 1 will be for week ending December 29th, which will hit the bank accounts on January 2nd? Just want to be 100% sure. Okay, so week 52, week ending December, week 52. I'm just having my calendar here now. I have to go through it. 26. So I take it that your payday is December 26th. I take it your payday is normally a second. So your payday is December 26th, and your next payday is January the 2nd. And that, yes, January the 2nd will need to be processed in your 2025 payroll. So, yes, that will be week 1. And that's absolutely fine. And your bank payday can be January the 2nd. That's no problem. Okay. Well, that's all from me here now. We hope that was helpful, and good luck with it all. Thank you.